What is going on, you guys? I'm coming to you today with a Super Star Destroyer build, and we're using Ryan Kingston's Fleet Builder, and I am going to be putting together a Super Star Destroyer build, since he did add some of those in here, so that's very, very cool. We're going to start off with the only one we have. Now, this is an early build. As more stuff becomes available, there'll be more options, so this is still very early. A lot of stuff hasn't been spoiled yet, so we're only kind of going with what we know. That being said, I am going to look at some officers. Now, I think one of the biggest things about a ship like this is the fact that it's got 3 officer slots. That's absolutely huge, and it's giving you options that you never had before. I mean, Rebels have had the option to put 2 officers on the Pelta before, but never 3, and never more than 1 on the Imperial side. So, which gives us a whole lot of really cool things that we can do. Just, you know, kind of looking at some of these officers, one of the first things I'm thinking is there's a lot of squadron-based officers that are really nice. There's a lot of defensive officers that are really nice. You know, you've got Tua, you've got Brunson, you know, things that you could only have 1 of before. You got Wolf Yularen, which is, you know, you've got a lot of different things. Grint, there's a lot of just officers that are really highly sought after that you had to really make tough choices on. Strategic Advisor, which hopefully will get errated. Governor Price, again, another really, really nice one. You know, maybe some of these would be too powerful for a Super Star Destroyer, maybe not. We'll see how that happens. Again, this is an early build. So one of the things that I'm going to do is I'm going to make a choice whether I want to go, you know, purely defensive or purely or more squadron support, because I think those are your two of your best options here. And I think I'm going to go squadron support. So I'm going to put Chirino on here, which is, he's one of those guys I really like, and I've used him on Quasars quite a bit. But considering the SSD has a squadron value of 5, which can even be made even higher, I think that's just absolutely incredible. So we can really eliminate the need, or help to eliminate the need for, you know, for having to run Intel. Which is very, very nice. I'll take it. And I mean, I'm already running a 220-point ship. What's 10 more points, right? And then also I'll put Instructor Goran on here because, well, look at this. At distance 1 to 2, look how big my base is. Distance 1 to 2 for me is going to actually give him more area, more of a sphere of influence than any other ship in the game. So his usefulness is incredibly huge here. So I'm very much enjoying that fact as well. And now I could do a 3rd squadron, like I guess Flight Commander could be really nice here as well. However, I am going to go ahead and put Damage Control Officer. This is, so I'm a little bit squadron, but I'm also putting some defensive on here as well. And I just think Damage Control Officer is too good not to put on a ship like this, considering how you know, how widely used a lot of the special crits are, and they're definitely going to be used against a ship like this. And I've got 2 contains, so definitely this makes those contains really good, and this gives all of the Super Star Destroyers defense tokens a whole lot of use. So this is a little bit of balance, because this is also going to be our flagship too, and if I'm going to go real squadron heavy, I think I'll go with Sloane. Sloane seems like a good option here, and I think she'll also counter well with Goran, because now if I'm running a bunch of TIE fighters, now they're also going to have counter, so it's just even more opportunities to trigger Sloane. So I am absolutely fine with that. Now we have I have a little more stuff I can put on this particular ship. So I'm going to be running. Let's go ahead and add my squadrons first. I'm going to run a lot of squadrons here. Again, this is going to be a squadron heavy build, so naturally you'd expect a lot of squadrons. For TIEs, we're going to run 8 regular TIEs, and we're going to run 2 TIE interceptors. Give us a little bit of extra oomph, and just, you know, the counter 2 is always nice as well. Now I'm not running Howl Runner. I mean, because I'm going to be I'll put flight controllers on here so that I don't have to. I'm not so dependent upon one. So flight controllers is going to give them all an extra blue die when I activate them and make them attack. So that's kind of like Howl Runner's ability, but just a little more flexibility, and it's cheaper too. I mean, I'm getting, it's for only 6 points. You know, it's kind of give and take. I mean, they both work well together also, but I wanted an even number, and the points just kind of line up this way. But you could totally change it up if you wanted. I just prefer flight controllers over Howl Runner, although you can use both. I'm also going to put boosted comms on here. I want to be able to hit as many as I can, and I think, if I'm going to be activating, you get a squadron automatically. So if I'm going to be hitting 6 squadrons, I'm definitely going to want that flexibility of being able to hit them a little bit farther. All right, now I will go ahead and also give this one leading shots, since I really have nothing else to mitigate bad dice. I've got at least 1 blue dice in every arc, so I think leading shots is a really good choice here, especially from that front arc. Now, I'm going to probably have to be using multiple different arcs because I am not using gunnery team, but that will factor in because we'll make sure we have, that we can factor that into our objectives. All right, so we have a little bit of points left over. We are going to put a Gazanti on here as well. And for the Gazanti, we are going to give this Gazanti CommsNet, so we can pass tokens over. And one of the reasons we're going to do that is in case I want to be able to nav, if I want to be able to turn, I can add pass a squadron token over, so I can still activate some squadrons even when I have to turn. It kind of gives me a little bit of flexibility there as well. I think that is, you could potentially make the argument for putting, this could be one of those times where you would put, not Gerard, but Piet on here if you wanted to maybe make that one token shine just a little bit more. But also, I mean, for engineering, it'll be helpful. It'd be helpful for a lot of different things, having that extra, especially for the first turn or two. It's nice to be able to do that. All right. Now we'll go ahead and add some other things on here. This one is going to also have, we're going to put, we're not running, what are we running here? We are going to run boosted comms on this one as well. Now boosted comms is going to help this little guy activate at long range as well, considering, we might hide him kind of behind the Super Star Destroyer. We want him to have the range to be able to activate his squadrons as well. And we'll give him Hondo in case we do need some more tokens. Hondo is always going to be helpful, and he's cheap. He is cheap, and we can wait. Now, also, I will go ahead and put Vector on here. Since I'm going to be farther away, maybe I want some TIE fighters that are a little closer to me to be able to go up to speed 5. It's a cheap title. A lot of times, generally, I think the other title is a little better. The suppressor is usually a lot better, but I don't want this one close enough to enemy ships that suppressor would come into effect. This gives us 399 points. We are just about there, folks. Well, let's go ahead and look at objectives. I'm going to, I think, now there's 2 things we could do here. We could go with Most Wanted, since I do have a Gazanti. I can kind of keep that Gazanti out of harm's way. It would give me an extra die on my SSD, and I think that's definitely a possibility. However, I think Advanced Gunnery is just crazy. I mean, and I could go with either one of these. There are pros and cons to both of them. One of the cons with Most Wanted is if you run up against an MS, a multiple small unit list, you don't really have that many good options at that point, and that's kind of unfortunate. The problem with Advanced Gunnery is if you do get a Simoon, for example, that doesn't have gunnery teams, all right, you're now the only restriction is that they can't shoot the same hull zone, but they can still shoot your ship if they have double arc. And on an SSD, there's a very good chance they will actually have 2 arcs on your SSD. So it's kind of a double-edged sword. But I think Advanced Gunnery is too good not to use, because this one gives me 3 attacks, and I definitely will do that. I absolutely love that option. All right. For yellow, now this is an interesting one. We do have a lot of squadrons, and that gives us definitely some options here. But not a huge fan of fighter ambush, because we don't know exactly the deployment rules for the SSD. If I could deploy it with the back end touching and just deploy it straight out, then it might be nicer. But I think that's too risky, so I don't think we're going to go ahead and do that. But I kind of like that idea a little bit, but not going to actually go that way. I'm also leaning towards Planetary Ion Cannon, because if I want to kind of put the the danger zone kind of behind where my SSD is, I think that's kind of a nice option. Fire lanes is also kind of a nice option, but you know, I don't have that many ships, so it would be easy for somebody to steal them from me. So I'm going to go with Planetary Ion Cannon here. Basically, I'll put them in a way that if you want to try and sneak up on my rear, I'll have a lot of the ion cannon stuff over that way, so I can kind of push you into the part of the map that I think we need to fight on. And then, whoops, not more squadrons. And then navigation, I think we definitely have to go with Solar Corona or Superior Positions in this particular case. I think Superior Positions is going to be a little bit easier here considering all the squadrons. Get a lot more victory points that way. And I'm not really as worried about the accuracy since I've got doubles of everything on the SSD. So I'm not really it's not really that big of a deal for me. I think Superior Positions is clearly the way to go for that one. Out of all of these, I would expect my opponent to probably choose Planetary Ion Cannon more often than not. So that is the list, folks. Let me know what you think. It's only a 2-ship list, but again, when an SSD is in there, you're not going to have too many ships. You can fit a little more if you want to run some really cheap ships, or just run a bare bones SSD at some point. So there's plenty more SSD builds that can be done. But I'd love to hear what you guys think about it. If you like this video, go ahead and give it a thumbs up and let me know what you think down in the comments below. Don't forget to check out Crabbok.com as well as hop in Discord and say hi to us. I want to thank you guys so much for watching and have a great day.